Race action here at Silverstone. The green flag then has cleared at the back. Let's hope those rain spots stay away as we get lights out and we are racing in MotoGP here in this historic British Grand Prix. The dream launch from the middle of that front row by the world champion Pecco Bagnaia. Aleix Espargaro sandwiched in between Jorge Martin and Enea Bastianini. It's a factory Ducati 1-2 as it stands right now. Aleix Espargaro tries to fight back going through turn 3, but Bagnaia leads.
Yeah, Marc Marquez is now right behind him and up the inside of Aleix Espargaro. One of the KTMs was left on the grid. It was Brad Binder who went nowhere off the lanes at the back of the field.
There was contact there, I think, between Aleix Espargaro and Jorge Martin, already swapping some of their special paintwork here at Silverstone. Aleix Espargaro was hung out to dry there by his great friend Martin. Now Aleix Espargaro down to 5th from pole.
Big move into Brookers there from Jack Miller. Someone just shot off into the run-off there on the outside. You can see a couple of bikes, I think, down. It's the two Trackhouse riders, I think, both Miguel Oliveira and Ralph Fernandez dropping down the order. The Trackhouse teammates are taking each other off.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Not the way that team wanted to start his Grand Prix. It is indeed Fernandez Oliveira. We just saw the big blue and silver blur in the background. I suspect it was one Trackhouse bike at least. Unfortunately, terrible way to start this British Grand Prix then for Trackhouse Racing. We're sporting a nod to American Grand Prix legends for their special livery. They snake through Maggotts and Beckett's for the first time. Bagnaia it is then that leads from Bastianini, the Tissot sprint winner yesterday. Martin in 3rd place. Aleix Espargaro has regrouped. He's back up into 4th.
Yeah, I think Brad Binder's going to be out of this Grand Prix. He's still not come through the 2nd sector. I saw him off the line just furiously gesticulating and waving his hands, trying to get something going on that KTM, and the KTM was not responding. So
has ever achieved that feat. He's nearly 6/10 of a second clear now, deep into this 4th sector on this lap 2 here in Silverstone. We're looking forward towards the pole setter Aleix Espargaro, who got a little bit pushed and shoved around on that first lap by Jorge Martin. He's there at the moment in 3rd place.
He was having a little bit of a sniff there as Bastianini once again outbreaks himself. That's going to put him truly under pressure from Aleix Espargaro. It's going to be all over him like a rash, as red as the factory Ducati 2003 colour scheme that's heading down the straight. Bastianini safe into Abbey ahead of Aleix Espargaro. But
full fuel tank here. It's going to get worse for the sprint winner yesterday. In fact, Aleix Espargaro does indeed dispense of the Italian, and now on the inside comes 93 Marc Marquez. Got to be careful here. Bastianini with that beautiful Mike Harewood tribute helmet on the factory Ducati, but he's been seriously beaten up here early on. 4th now, he sits behind Aleix Espargaro and under real big pressure from the Marquez brothers.
Bastianini started this lap as part of a 2nd behind Bagnaia. That lead has only grown from the 1st of the factory Ducatis back to the 2nd of them. Jorge Martin's just creeping back towards Bagnaia so far on this 3rd lap, with a half-second gap back to Aleix Espargaro. Behind the Gresini Ducatis we have Acosta in 7th place, and this was the battle for 2nd. 6/10 of a second gap behind us, or behind Aleix Espargaro. Bastianini still not exactly making much of an indent on the trio ahead of it.
Further back, Marc, that is 5th. Alex Marquez 6th. Acosta 7th. Gian Antonio in 8th. Miller in 9th place. Of course, shop window time for Jack Miller. The phone has not been ringing at the moment. Without a ride in any paddock in 2024. Let's hope that Miller can find some late season form and secure a seat somewhere, either it be in MotoGP or in World Superbikes potentially next season. Vinales completes the top 10 as it stands right now. Frankie Morbidelli circulating in 13th place on the Prima Pramac Ducati after his first lap indiscretion against Bezzecchi in the sprint yesterday. He's got a double long lap penalty, of course, coming his way.
Yeah, so watch Binder. We're just circling him now. 6th bike on the grid, and you could see him with his left hand immediately putting his hand up. Very nearly got clipped by Marco Bezzecchi. Binder furiously trying to get some previous response and engagement from that KTM. The KTM was not responding, and as a result of that, Brad Binder stopped halfway around that first lap.
Yeah, KTM says no. KTM computer says no. Gutting for Brad Binder, who was pretty confident of building on his best sprint finish yesterday since the opening round in Qatar. A real solid 4th place from Binder. Helps right, left. A proper test of your motorcycle's agility, a proper test of your upper body strength, as well as you must muscle these MotoGP missiles around and then get the slingshot down the hanger straight. Good drive, good acceleration, good momentum out of that, onto the hanger straight, wasn't it, by Bagnaia?
Yeah, despite the initial fear on the wall of lap, doesn't appear as if those spots of rain have led to anything greater than that, although we do still have some rather ominous clouds up ahead of us. Looks on this fourth lap as if Enea Bastianini's now starting to get himself up into speed. Further on this lap, we've already seen him close.
Saturday at the British Grand Prix 2023 edition. He's in 10th place at the moment, doing a pretty good job. Got a serious whack, a real wallop on his right ankle after the contact at turn 1 sprint from Frankie Morbidelli. So it's relying on some painkillers and some adrenaline at the moment is Marco Bezzecchi. Just a little bit hot there, was he, to the back end of Magnus and Beckett's Pecco Bagnaia.
We saw a beautiful overhead helicopter shot yesterday of the various styles, and Bagnaia is able to pull out a little bit of a gap once again as they come onto the hanger straight. Marquez still hanging on, in fact both Marquez brothers hanging on pretty well at the moment in 5th and 6th. They both set personal best laps last time around and actually were both slightly quicker than Pecco Bagnaia. We've seen this scenario before, haven't we, this year, with Bagnaia leading at the front of the race, not by much, but surely, as we've seen from Bagnaia before, just managing that gap, well aware that on that medium front tyre he needs to make sure he's got some front grip left in the latter stages of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, this feels like it's all going to the master plan, really. It's just sort of settled into a steady rhythm around the low 159s, high 158s once again in the case of Aleix Espargaro. Nobody at the moment really willing to stick their neck out and burn up those Michelin tyres as we thought it would be. It's just a very early game of cat and mouse. The race 1 year ago really came alive, didn't it, towards the conclusion. Well, it went all the way down to the wire as Aleix Espargaro picked up Bagnaia on the very last lap. Are we setting ourselves up? We certainly hope so for some more late drama here at Silverstone. There's almost equal gaps, isn't there, really, from the helicopter shot between your lead 5, Bagnaia, Martin, Espargaro, Bastianini and Marquez.
Yeah, I think Bastianini will feel pretty comfortable and happy there sitting in 4th place, particularly given how the race began for him with those battles with Martin and Espargaro, which both came out on the course. Bagnaia does start to eke out a gap, and that will sound the alarm bells for Bastianini, of course, with those 2 bikes between himself and his teammate. But at this stage of the race, Bastianini is still firmly in contention.
Gian Antonio, you can just see there at the back of your picture how quickly he's dropped Pedro Acosta, having had a fairly frantic early battle with the Spanish rookie on that last lap. Fidget at a 159.223, and immediately he's been able to streak away by over a second to Acosta, who's suffering early on here on the gas for the entry to Vale. And as they start attacking towards Club Corner, Gian Antonio got the better of it twice in quick succession. So Gian Antonio now inside that top 6, albeit very, very briefly.
Brave move from Alex Marquez to go the inside into Abbey. Is Gian Antonio going to hang it around the outside of Farm Curve as we now cut to the leaders? Who came out on top between Diggio and Alex Marquez? It was Gian Antonio, but that battle still rages on.
Yeah, loving the Pertamina Enduro VR46 livery. A nod, of course, to 9 times world champion Valentino Rossi. They were sport for choice in terms of the unique liveries that Rossi ran throughout his career. Alex Marquez, retaliation instant on Gian Antonio. They go side by side, elbow to elbow, bar to bar racing. This, isn't it, between the 2 Ducati GP23s. This is what 5 was.
He recovering from his long lap penalties, looks to try and pick his way back through there. That was Luca Marini leading teammate Juan Mir. Marini got his first world championship point last time out in Germany, and he's now leading his teammate in their battle for 13th.
Sideways style there on the brakes on the high-speed run into Abbey was Bagnaia. He's not trying to shake off the quartet behind him, because he knows if he does, he's more than likely, inevitably, to run into some late grip woes. So he's just content managing.
I think it was all in that mistake he made into Village Corner. Jorge Martin then staring at potentially reclaiming the World Championship lead if he can reverse the order of these 2 Ducatis up ahead of us. It's interesting though, because speaking to Pecco Bagnaia on Friday, he said, hey, Jorge Martin's quicker than me at the moment in terms of ultra race pace. Of course, generally Bagnaia gets stronger the longer the weekend goes on.
A full second
You can see Bastianini and Marc Marquez now climbing all over the back of Aleix Espargaro, and I think Bastianini's decided now is the moment to strike, although Aleix Espargaro very, very late on the brakes. Was he slightly too late? The answer is yes. Bastianini now up into the top three, which is now an all Ducati GP24 top three.
You see that factory and pulling the medium rear tyre twitching as Aleix Espargaro gone on the gas. He did everything he possibly could to defend that final place on the podium. Could still, of course, find himself inside the top three. But once again, the top three is an all Ducati affair. They've locked out the podium in the last 6 MotoGP races, and now with Enea Bastianini getting on with this, the Ducati's got to recover, having taken third from Aleix Espargaro. 1.3 seconds as Martin's going for it on the inside of Bagnaia into turn 3. This British Grand Prix then is starting to come alive. Jorge Martin then takes the lead, and as it stands at the moment, he leads the MotoGP World Championship.
Oh, that would have been brave if Bagnaia was going to send it up the inside of Jorge Martin on their way onto the Wellington Straight. So now Bagnaia has to do the chasing, not just in the race, but if you put the flag out now, Jorge Martin would have his World Championship lead back.
So Jorge Martin has decided then with 8.5 laps to go. There he is. We're getting a good look at it now on board from Pecco Bagnaia, who's creeping closer on the brakes into Vale. Stops up the Ducati really nice, doesn't he? That tight chicane as we come to the back end of this lap 12. A very significant lap 12. Any potential outcome of this year's British Grand Prix, because Jorge Martin took the lead at turn 3, and his advantage, he knows that he is right in contention, and we know how good he is at late race time management. Here he goes. Oh, he thought about it. He really thought about it. You could see his factory Ducati was snaking sideways. It went left, it went right before he flicked it in to Brooklands corner. Bagnaia does just about hold on. We know that it's Enea's forte, late race pace, silky smooth with that right throttle hand in managing them to go here in Silverstone. Jorge Martin it is that still leads. Bagnaia again outside of that 1:59 marker, and he's losing touch here with Martin. Jorge Martin nearly half a second clear. Bastianini was also 59.6 from Enea on the best of the best. This is building up to a thrilling climax here at Silverstone. Forget Bagnaia, forget Aleix Espargaro, forget Marc Marquez. They are way out of contention for the victory. It is all down to 2 stars. Martin versus Bastianini. They now attack hard on the brakes at the end of the hangar straight. Back 3 gears down to the 3rd gear. Stoke corner very, very shortly.
Corner there at the Wellington Straight and up towards the exit of Woodcuts, or potentially into Copse. And Enea Bastianini might well be close enough for an attack.
Both worthy winners. You feel that nobody really deserves to lose this Grand Prix, as Martin has blinked. He has blinked and made a mistake going into turn 3. How decisive then could that be? Enea Bastianini did not even have to try and be aggressive. He did not have to work out the puzzle of how to find a way through on Martin. That could be the key moment of this British Grand Prix.
Well, it's not as big an error as he made on the penultimate lap at the Sachsenring, but once again, with 2 to go, Jorge Martin might have seen a race victory slip through his fingers. Hard on the brakes into Village corner, and he just can't get that Ducati stopped. Enea Bastianini, the easiest race lead that he's ever taken in his life, and has Jorge Martin got anything to fight back with?
1 lap to go, almost coming up very, very shortly. Halfway around the penultimate lap here. Enea Bastianini then in 2 weeks' time as the new MotoGP World Championship leader, back in a position of supremacy, back in a position of authority. But it has been an authoritative performance throughout this British Grand Prix weekend for Enea Bastianini. Standing on Enea, heart in mouth as he got a big wobble on the rear tyre coming out of Stowe. On the front row of the grid yesterday, his first sprint success is going to be followed up with some joyous celebrations as we celebrate our 75th anniversary season, and taking the spoils at Silverstone in a stunner goes Enea Bastianini. What a performance by the Italian, still doing 59s on the very last lap. James and Oliver Phelps, of course, the Weasley twins from Harry Potter. Well, I don't think J.K. Rowling